Everybody, Meriden Gaming here, and on today's Monday Spotlight, we're going to be taking a look at the Hunter Call of the Wild. If you've been looking for a hunting simulation game, this is the top one that is out. There are quite a few DLC for it as well, so some of the gameplay you may see may be from one of the DLCs. But yeah, there is a bunch of different hunting reserves, which in turn means different animals that you'll be hunting. This is it's kind of an RPG style because you do have skills that you have to level up and whatnot, which we'll show you in a minute. But typically you start in either actually I always started in the Leighton Lake district. That's considered the easiest one to start in. But they also have the Hirschfelden in Europe. You have the Taiga in Russia. Virhonga, which is Africa, South Africa. So you got lions and whatnot, wildebeest, warthogs, really cool area. Then you have Fernando, which is in South America. Yukon Valley. This is one I haven't tried yet, the Cuatro Colinas. I can't remember where exactly. Oh, it looks like it's in Spain. So that one's going to be interesting if we ever try that one. One of the new DLCs, the Silver Ridge Peaks in the Rocky Mountains. And that is it. So let me go back. We're going to go ahead and go to the continue to kind of give you an idea of what the game is about. And it's nighttime. Of course it's nighttime. Let me come in here and
Blacktails are Hope's bread and butter. If you ever want hunting tips on him, he's your man. He's been with the Blacktails for a while now. If they're on the move, it's not only a problem for Hope.
Ahead.
It might mean worrying changes for other parts of the reserve.
Okay, so now it should be daytime. It'll be a little bit easier to see. So this is your basic hunting cabin that you can. You start not at a cabin, but you'll find this one pretty quickly because this is the Leighton Lake District, the primary starting area, and this is where you refill your ammo and unlock new guns and whatnot. Which you would end up coming over here to the cache, and this is where you can see what you have unlocked and what you still need to unlock. So like you can see here, for the different types of rifles, you have a rifle score. You up your rifle score as you use your weapons. Same goes for handguns, shotguns, and bows. You have a few unlocked automatically, and of course I have a few just because I have one of the DLCs or a couple of the DLCs. So I have access to some of the higher end stuff that comes automatically when you unlock the DLC. And the same thing with the shotguns. I have a few of the free ones as well. But you start off with, I believe, one of each type automatically. But anyway, typically you start using your rifle, and then as you use it, your score will go up, because I think I started at like 100 or something like that, and I've already got it up to 229. And there's multiple different rifles and other weapons in the categories, which work towards the different sizes of game. Of course, you've got your 223, which is for smaller game like coyotes and whatnot. 270 for your deer, working up to 300 for probably your elk. Same with 7mm. And if you look at them, they should have, if I can remember where it's at. Actually, it's probably in the actual ammo. It tells you what they're designed for, because like the 4570, that's going to be like bear and moose and whatnot. But yeah, so that's the basic of the guns. As you can see, there is a wide variety. Yeah, you even have 22 for rabbits. So yeah, it's really cool. And then if you're more of a handgun style hunter, you start off with the 357, which works on a lot of the medium-sized game like the deer and the springboks and stuff like that. But of course, you also have 22s, which it says Anderson, but that looks an awful lot like a Ruger to me. But anyway, and then you can go all the way up to the 454, which is also very similar to a 45 Long Colt if you're not familiar with a 454. And then a 44 Magnum, which is the premier hunting pistol for most in real life, although the 454 works really well too. And of course, you got your shotguns. That's going to be for your waterfowl, your turkeys, and I believe you can get slugs as well to use on, which that's how you're going to probably level it up. You can get slugs for hunting deer and whatnot. And then finally, if you don't like guns, you've got the option for bows and crossbows. And you have not only like compound bows, but if you're more of like one of those primitive hunters, you have the option to use recurves, which is my preferred bow. Um, I used to be an archery instructor, and also I've done really much hunting with bows. I just love target shooting. Um, and these are very realistic to how they would perform. Then you also have your ammo, and okay, that's just shows compatible items. Oh, here it is. Yeah, ammo. It shows here what they can be used for. So you've got, I believe that's foxes, deer, and warthogs or wild boar. I'm not sure which one that is. Um, and then coyotes. Yeah. So basically, depending on what you're using, it's rated for um, the different types of animals that you can hunt with it. And if you aren't using the right type of ammunition or the right rifle for the animal you're hunting, like say you're using a 223 on a moose, yes, you can take it down, but you're not going to get as good a trophy score um, because you're using the wrong rifle. So you can hunt the bigger game, but you do have to take into account that you're not going to get as good a score and therefore not get as much money and whatnot. And then, of course, you also have different rifle scopes, including night vision rifle scopes, which you actually will need in one of the first few quests. So it's nice that originally you didn't have this and you had to try to uh, hunt at night without night vision, which was very difficult. Um, and of course, you also have the handgun. I mean, it's the same thing. Like the 357, you can take everything up to elk, um, but it's more suited for the medium game. And then the 44, you can pretty much take everything up to moose and bear with this thing. And then the 454, uh, which would be known as the 454 Casal, says it right here. It can literally take on anything. It actually over penetrates on some of the smaller things like the coyotes and the deer and whatnot. So if you try to use it, you wouldn't get as good a score because, as you notice, it's not as one of the options for hunting with. Shotgun, yeah, you do have buckshot, which you can use for medium game. Then you have bird shot, and then you also have the slugs once you get high enough up. And then you also have the two different types. You got the 12 and the 20 gauge options. As far as arrow goes, you have different uh, types of bolts and arrows depending on what size game you're using, and you pretty much have a lot of them unlocked if you have the DLC automatically. Um, but yeah, you have to make sure you're using the right type of bow or the right type of arrow for the right type of things. Then we move on to rifle sights. This once again, you have a lot of different options for scopes depending on what you like to use. You can even have open sights if you like. Same thing for all those. And then you come down to your lures. So you can have, there's two different types of hunting in this game. You have the active hunting where you are tracking the animal, which you will still use some of these even when tracking. But then you have the passive hunting where you actually have ground blinds and tree stand or deer stands and whatnot, where you try to call the animals in. Uh, the one thing about this game is it does take into account your um, the time of day and the movement of the animals. So you have to know like what time they're going to be in what areas to make sure you're in your hunting blind at the right time. And of course, you can use the calls to if the deer is running or something, you can use them to call them and they will stop and give you enough time to shoot. And then also you can call them in closer. The scents, this is made to, especially when you're doing the blind hunting from a deer stand or something like that, you want to have these out to help attract the animals you're wanting to hunt. Um, and then also there is, I want to say there's a way to mask your scent too. That may be in the clothing actually. And then decoys. This is what you need for if you're trying to hunt the different types of waterfowl and whatnot. And then you have consumables. These are, yeah, here's the scent eliminator. Basically, it does take into effect wind direction. So if you are upwind, the wind is blowing from you towards the animals, they can smell you and will run off. So you have to use that to help prevent that, or make sure to circle around the right direction in order to get the wind in the more favorable condition. And of course, you do have HP. You can be knocked out if an animal attacks you, and you'll be sent back to, I believe it was the last cabin you were at, or the closest one. I can't remember. I've only gone down like once when hunting bear. And then you also have different types of clothing. It doesn't affect how well the animals detect you. It's more of just a personal choice of what you like to use. And then you also have backpacks. You start off, you can't carry a whole lot, um, but you can get the bigger and larger backpacks to be able to carry more stuff. But as you notice, it increases your noise. So some of your skills will help to reduce that. But yeah, it gives you the option to carry extra higher stuff. And then you also have your binoculars, both a rangefinder, and you also have night vision binoculars to hunt at night. So those are very handy and free if you have the DLC. And then you have tents. So if you are out in an area and you want to rest, you don't have to go all the way back to the cabin. You can also, they work as fast travel locations. The cabins are fast travel as well. You can revive in this area and you can rest to um, be able to pass the time and whatnot. And it also works as your storage cache as well. Then you have your ground blinds for hunting in areas where there's not a deer stand. Your layout blinds, this is for your birds, waterfowl blinds, and that is pretty much it. And then you also have your storage here, which is stuff that you've already unlocked, because of course you can't carry everything. And you do have a limited amount of ammo as well, although there's some ammo that is absolutely free. If you run through it, you can always get more. So don't be afraid to completely run out of ammo. You will always be able to get, if you look at the rifle ammo, the 243 soft point bullet, always free. So you will never truly run out of ammo. You just have to get a few kills, and then you can get some money to restock. And then you also have your character. You can change your, male or female. You can change the look of them. Like he is from an actual DLC. The clothing you have unlocked, which I don't have any extra, and then the backpack if you have those unlocked. And finally, your garage. If you have I think there's a DLC for this. This will help you get around faster, but of course these are loud, so they will definitely scare off any animals in the immediate vicinity. So you want to use these to get close to where you're going and then hop off of it and sneak into the area you want to be. All right. So then you also have your lovely little phone. Let me just backspace out of that and that one. And this works as your map, so you can look around the area, and if you discover tracks, it will show those on the map. You also have the option to open up your full map, and then you can see areas of interest, like this is a bedding zone, so at night, the moose will come to here. And then you can also go through, you also have missions, main missions to progress the story, and then of course you have little side missions which give you bonus money and whatnot, and access to different things. Of course, your current inventory, which right now I just have the 2 rifles and then a bunch of calls, because I literally just restarted this character, so I don't really have much unlocked. Now we get on to skills. This is where you, as you progress and get more and more experience, you'll be able to unlock more and more. As you can see, like this allows me to have to be able to track animals from further away. And you have different skill types depending on what your preferred hunting style is. You have the stalker, which is the active hunter that you try to track them. You try to get in the right position, move around until you have a good shot. And then you have the ambusher, which is more focused on the deer stands and deer blinds or waterfowl blinds. Um, so it kind of depends on what style of hunting you want to do. You can completely max out both, I believe, but it's usually better to focus on one or the other. Typically, the stalker is the easier of the two. You can start with that and then move to the other one once you get a few um, points in. So I have a point, so let's see, what do we want to put the point into? And here we go. I think I want to put some points into track knowledge. Oh, and did you hear that? There was an animal. If I look at the direction of those little things, it tells me what it was, a coyote. We actually have the right weapon to be coyote hunting. So let's go ahead and, of course, control will crouch. See what weapon I have. I think that's, oh, I was set up to go night hunting. Which if you go into your inventory, you can actually set it to where you can take stuff on and off. So now we will just have open sights, and let's see if we can call in that animal. That is the roebuck, that's the deer. Should be a rabbit call, although I may not have it equipped. I don't have it equipped, okay. Alright, so let's get out our binoculars, which should be R3, and see if we can see this animal, and you can zoom in with your mouse wheel. I don't see the coyote. But if you see it, it would highlight it. And of course, if you crouch, you make less noise. If you notice down the bottom, on the right-hand side, you have how much noise you're making. And it works better with a controller because you can control. See, look, there he is again. Mating call. Let's see if we can see him.
I spotted some tracks earlier, close to where you're at right now.
That's some pretty thick trees, and he's a little ways away, so we can move at a walking speed. But if you notice, you see how on the bottom right, the walking meter turns red, or the sound meter turns red. That means we're making a lot of noise, whereas if we're crouched, it makes much less noise. And you can actually go all the way to prone, if I can remember the button for that. Oh, and that was not the right button. It's Z, okay. And you can actually crawl and make almost no noise. Let's see, can we see the coyote? I don't see one. Let's go ahead and get our rifle back out. And you do have some basic sights. Of course, there's some of those tracks he was mentioning. Okay, let's get up and move a little bit closer. And I'm not really seeing. We should start to see tracks. Okay. And because I whistled, we may not actually see them. And I also heard a hawk there for a second. The problem is those hawks will come down and attack you if you get into their nesting area. So you have to be careful. Yeah, if I was really trying to hunt a coyote, I should probably have actually brought the coyote call, which would help. But I do like this game because look at the graphics. Oh, there he is again. Well, he hasn't discovered us yet because it still shows mating call and not an alert call. Let's see if we can see where he's at. You also do have to factor in range. There's also, the bullets have a ballistic trajectory, so they fall very close to what is actual for in real life. It's going to be very interesting trying to get close, especially with all this underbrush and trees, because you do make more noise if you go through tree branches. The problem is that coyotes seem to be moving, so that will make it very difficult to track him. But you definitely want to crouch when you're getting close to your animal and going through branches. Well, I was hoping to see an animal. I may pause right here and wait till I find an animal and bring the camera back in. So give me just a minute to find this guy. Alright, well I haven't found him yet, but I did notice we have some tracks here. So I was going to show you what it does. So depending on your hunter level and what perks you've picked, you will be able to see these further away. White means you have not discovered that animal or looked at that animal. And there's different types of tracks. You also have droppings, footprints, bedding areas, foraging areas. And I am not sure if that is actually what we're looking for. That looks like a bear. Or no, that is a coyote. Those look awfully big for a
You'll
coyote.
find coyotes all over the reserve,
But see,
so
now
they're
that
not
I've
the most
selected that
difficult
animal,
to hunt.
you can
They're pack
see
animals,
the
so they
next
respond well
thing.
to
And if you
collars,
look
but
here,
they can also get aggressive
it
when alerted.
shows the
So be
direction he
careful.
probably traveled. And the higher level you are, it will narrow this little cone to give you a better idea. But you just look for the next blue area and keep on moving. So he's moved into towards the lake. And then if you look at droppings, if you notice it says fresh, so that means he should be close by. So we're going to have to be ready because typically the coyotes, when they do notice you, will start running. And hitting a moving target, of course, is very difficult to do unless you are very used to hunting and trying to hit. See, look, he's at a trot. That tells me what speed he's at. So he's moving at a pretty good clip, but he's not running quite yet. Just keep following through here. Probably once we get up to the edge through these bushes, we will want to get our binoculars out and see if we can get a good sight on him. Okay, examine track. He's at a walk, so that's much slower than the trot. Let's get our binoculars out and see if we can see him. There is a lot of undergrowth, so that makes it more difficult to see the animals. He should be moving out in that direction. And this is another good spot at the lakes, especially if you have a larger caliber rifle. You can take game from across the lake as long as you place your shot well. I am not seeing him, so let's move down into the water. Of course, we're going to make even more noise. In the water. And see, look, there's probably some drinking spots or some muddy spots. I'm not seeing the next set of tracks. Alright, well, let me see if I can find the animal again. Well, sadly enough, he apparently got away. The droppings I'm finding and the surface depressions I'm finding are old, so that means he's moved on from the area. We could probably try to run him down, but coyotes are very skittish, so they are hard to track. Anyway, let's get back to our other things. In addition to the skills, we also have what are called perks, which goes along with your rifle, handguns, shotguns, depending on whatever your type of preferred um, thing is. And it is tracked separately. So like for right now, I have, one perk point for rifles. And then of course, it's separate for each one. So you have to use each type of weapon if you want to level up each of these different things. So I have one perk point to spend. Let's see, that increases ready speed. Let's see what else we got. We got steady hands. And of course, these do build on each other. So to get the higher levels, you have to go through the other things. Hold breath. And then we also have decrease level and aim when using weapons. You know what? I think I want that one. Oh, apparently I already used my. That says perk points to spend. Oh, perk points spent. I'm sorry. Perk points to spend is actually down here. So we already used one. But yeah, so basically you want to be working on either, you can go for just using one type of weapon and leveling it up all the way, or you can also um, work on multiple different weapons, although that takes longer to get the higher level stuff to hunt the bigger animals, which give you more money. So it's kind of whichever way you prefer. Finally, you have the codex. So this gives you a little bit of information about the world around you, the districts, your hunting log if you want to keep track of what you've been hunting. You also have the ability to go to the trophy lodge here, where you can see it, which I actually don't have any because I haven't. If you use them as a trophy, you don't get to get the money from them. So that's kind of one of those pay, risk or plus or minuses. Do you want this big trophy room to show off to your friends or not? But yeah, that is the basic game. And yeah, like I said, you can use a bunch of different rifles. You've got a bunch of different handguns, shotguns, bows. The scenery is great. I will say that this game can be frustrating when you're trying to track animals, just because they do not tend to stop at all, which to me is a little bit unrealistic. Because typically animals will stop to feed and whatnot every once in a while. It seems like they're always on the run, even if they haven't spotted you. The one last thing I forgot to mention is down in the bottom right, where you have the compass, you also have the wind indicator. So the wind is blowing from in front of me to behind me, so that gives the cone looking away from me. So my scent is tracking this way. And then you also have your heart, which is based on your um, how much you've been working. Like if you run, of course, your heart rate is going to go up. And if you notice in just a second, well, I thought it, okay, now you see it's starting to pump more. If you throw up your weapon, you'll notice it wobbles more if your heart rate is up. Also, it helps if you're crouching. Of course, should wobble a little bit less. And then the second thing right next to the heart is your visibility. So if you see standing, I am very visible because it shows a full eye. If I crouch, I am somewhat visible. And if I go down to the ground, not visible at all. So you do have to take that into account when hunting. And don't be afraid to crawl a ways if you're trying to get a good shot on an animal. But yeah, so like I said, this is a very realistic, sometimes frustrating, but a great hunting simulator if that is the type of game you want to play. Um, like I said, I've played this for quite a while. I just restarted this character, but it is very rewarding. It does help to teach you things about, scent, sound, and whatnot. If you're wanting to teach uh, someone else how to hunt, this is a good opportunity to kind of let them have a feel for it, but not putting themselves in danger and whatnot of using an actual gun or bow or something like that. So it's a great teaching tool as well. Um, Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this Monday Spotlight. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. If there's other games you want to see on here, or if you want to see some more gameplay or something like that, I can always post some extra videos uh, for the games that we are playing. And yeah, once again, this is Meriden Gaming, and I'll see you in the wilderness.